What's up? I'm happy to have you here. If you're here, it means you're probably an entrepreneur that wants to develop into the elite version of yourself in every way possible, specifically mentally and physically. And it means that you're also likely looking to take care of your health and fitness first and foremost, as it truly is the foundation of self development. I spent the last years learning how to optimize myself and learning how to optimize myself while building a business. And so I want to share with you some of the most important strategies I've learned that can help you develop in your own journey. So without further ado, let's get rocking and rolling here. I'm just going to make myself smaller and put myself in the corner. So just to reiterate who this is for, if you're an entrepreneur who's built an established business, but your health and fitness has been on the back burner, which, by the way, I totally understand. You have to give all of yourself when you're building a business, and it's hard to prioritize the time to take care of yourself. You also probably realize that it is in fact time to prioritize yourself and get in amazing shape. And you have a burning desire to become the max potential version of yourself. This isn't just like it would be nice. This is like this must happen. I must become this version of myself. Because honestly, that's the place you have to get to if you want to create real change. By the end of this video, I want to accomplish a few things with you guys here. Number one, I don't know how long this is going to be, 10 to 20 minutes. I want this video to be worth 100x the time you spend with me in regards of value. So I want this, my goal for this was to be a very simple and actionable training that you can use to immediately create massive ripple effects in your life and with your self-development. I want you to develop into an absolute weapon without sacrificing business execution, time allocated towards business. Because again, I know, even though you've built an established business is still the main priority. And I wouldn't be making this for you if I felt like you had to sacrifice hours and hours and hours a week and live in the gym in order to do this. You don't. And I want to help you progress into the version of yourself you know you're capable of without, again, living in the gym or spending 8 hours meal prepping, etc. And again, I want to make this extremely simple and actionable. This could easily be a 3-hour thing, but I want to make this just super short, super digestible, and something you can actually use to make change with starting today. As far as what's in this for me, I have two main North Star missions for myself and my company. Number one, help 1 million entrepreneurs become their elite self so they can max out their true potential in life and business and create the impact on the world they are truly meant to create. So my goal for my company is to help as many entrepreneurs as possible, you being one of them. And I want you to become the version of yourself you know you're truly capable of becoming, mentally, physically, etc., so that you can create whatever your max potential is and create the impact on the world that you know you're truly capable of. And our second mission, which is a massive mission, is help solve all major world problems such as hunger, shelter, education, equal opportunity, and peace. And this is obviously a massive, mission, massive statement. Most people think I'm a little bit delusional when I say this, but and I might be. But one quote I keep from Emerson in mind, Ralph Waldo Emerson. He's dead long ago, one of the OGs. And I'm paraphrasing, but he says, if you have the desire to achieve something, it therefore means you have the capacity or capability to carry it out. And so I have the desire to do this. I define impossible as physically impossible, which solving these major world problems is not. And therefore I have a desire and I have an optimism around its possibility. Anyways, you're not here to hear me talk about my mission. You're here to learn about how this can help you. And there's two different ways that I can do that, and two different methods that I can accomplish my first mission, which is help 1 million entrepreneurs develop into their elite self. Vehicle number one is through content, so through videos like this. My objective with my YouTube and my Instagram and other platforms, YouTube and Instagram are my main platforms, is to make simple, actionable, potent content for entrepreneurs to help them develop mentally and physically, so that they can achieve their max potential in life. And if information is what you came here for and what you need, I want to supply the highest quality of it and nothing more than nothing less than what you need so that you can go on your way and absolutely crush it. Vehicle number 2 is through coaching. So I have a coaching program specifically curated for entrepreneurs to help them get in great shape and take back control of their health and their fitness and their habits. And so if you are looking for a more direct approach and you're not just looking for information, but you're looking for implementation and a professional guiding you through the process and holding you accountable and making sure that it happens and making sure you're supported through the ebbs and flows of business, then there will be a link down below where you can book a free call with myself if you'd like to speak about my coaching program and see if you'd be a good fit and get the ball rolling with that. As far as mission 2, mission 1 contributes to mission 2 because I know that the ripple effect of helping 1 million entrepreneurs develop into their elite self and creating the positive impact on the world that they know they're truly meant to create, that's going to be a massive ripple effect, because I know that every entrepreneur I help creates a ripple effect that helps 10, 100, thousands, even potentially millions more people. And so I'm quite optimistic about the positive ripple effect of mission 1 and helping a million entrepreneurs. Vehicle number 2 for mission 2 is a charity foundation, which is kind of in its infancy right now, which will be a direct way we can help these world issues and deploy human resources and also cash to these issues to make a difference in real time. But again, you're not here to hear me talk about that. Just before we dive into things, I want to give you a quick backstory. I believe that you should only take advice from people who have created the results that you're looking for themselves and have also repeated that result with other people as well. So this is like a super obviously summarized backstory, just kind of bringing you up to speed. In 2018, I dropped out of engineering school to pursue business, and I tried a bunch of different businesses. Many of them I didn't even stick with for longer than 2 seconds to even see them through. Made a lot of mistakes, gained a lot of lessons, etc. During that time, I became a personal trainer on the side, which is kind of when I took my interest and expertise in health and fitness to the professional level and started helping people. In 2019, I founded Elite Self Coaching as an online fitness and self-development program, just because I saw a lot of gaps in what I was doing as a personal trainer and a lot of limitations to that scope of practice, which we'll talk about later on in this video. And overall, I spent the last 5+ years learning how to optimize myself mentally and physically, getting in the best shape of my life and staying in the best shape of my life while building a business without spending hours and hours in the gym, and keeping business as the main priority, and really developing the version of myself that can apply the best version of myself to business. And so again, I want to help you do the same. Why I like helping entrepreneurs, because it wasn't always this way. This is a recent shift that I've made in business. And after I used to help anyone with a pulse get in shape, but after living as an entrepreneur and building my own business, I realized how difficult it can be to take good care of yourself and how important it is to take good care of yourself as an entrepreneur. And I became passionate about learning how to fully optimize myself while growing my business. Another reason is I know I can provide the most value to entrepreneurs. I enjoy working with them the most. They're the type of people I'd have a beer with and hang out with anyways, and want to help anyways. So I just oriented my whole program in this direction. And again, after being in the fitness industry and also being in business, I realized that there aren't really any solid options out there as far as coaching programs specifically created for entrepreneurs. And so I wanted to create something that's super effective for entrepreneurs and can help them out to a very high degree. Generic online fitness plans really don't cut it. Honestly, every 2 to 3 clients that comes into our program tells me about a negative experience of some kind with some other online trainer or program. They always end up not caring after a few weeks and kind of losing interest in the client once the money's switched sides, or they didn't customize the program to actually meet their needs, or they created a program that was fine for a certain season of business, but the second things kind of got busier, they didn't have as much time, or they're traveling or something came up, the trainers didn't really adjust sufficiently, and the whole system kind of just fell apart. And entrepreneurs need to have a plan curated for their exact business schedule, their daily cadence, their experience level, and something they can just execute without giving it any thought, like just taking the guesswork out of it and trusting that their coach has created something that's made exactly for them in their situation and their goals in that exact chapter of their life. PTs also don't really cut it. Again, I used to be a personal trainer, and this isn't any disrespect to personal trainers. I have lots of friends that are personal trainers. Lots of people get help from personal trainers. But The thing about it is, they only focus on fitness, and fitness is only one important piece of the puzzle. They're missing other key areas that need to be addressed in order to create a long-term transformation, such as nutrition, habits, mindset, energy optimization. And this goes for any fragmented solution, like a nutritionalist or, a diet coach, a fitness only coach, or, a running coach, or whatever it is. If you just need support in a specific area, they can be useful. But oftentimes what is required is a holistic approach, because if one piece is going well, but the other 3 to 4 are not, it's very difficult to make short-term progress, let alone long-term progress, let alone a lifestyle, like a long-term transformation. And so that's why it's just, you're just paying a lot of money for not much of a result. And I actually found this in real time. Like, I was giving my clients the best workouts, but I was wondering, why aren't they losing weight? Then I realized, like, I have no idea what they're eating. I have no idea what their sleep is like, their hydration, their habits, their routines, etc., their stress levels, etc. So that's part of why I started this business, to actually address those factors. And again, personal training doesn't account for travel or busy seasons where you might not have time to go into the gym to see the trainer. And again, so it is actually measured or recorded that the PT industry has approximately 97% long-term failure rate, mainly because you become dependent on the personal trainer to succeed. Like, you become dependent on being in their physical proximity in order to actually make progress. And there's really no long-term identity level change that occurs with that type of coaching. And so most people find themselves falling off long-term, unfortunately. Since transitioning to this model and helping this type of person, we have created a lot of really awesome transformations. I just pulled a few of them from our company Instagram, which I'll link down below as well if you want to go check out. But like I said, this doesn't just work for me. I wanted to make sure that it works for other people as well. And after repeating it and transforming these men like clockwork, I'm very confident in our system, and this is what I'm going to share with you here today. So the blueprint and what we're going to do in this video is, number 1, define your max potential. Number 2, define your elite self, the version of yourself you need to become to achieve your max potential. Number 3, I'm going to give you a crash course on how to become your elite self, specifically how to get in shape and all of the important factors that you need to know there, nothing more, nothing less. And then I'm going to help you create a game plan so that you can finish this video having clarity and a clear roadmap on what to do next. And so number 1, define our max potential. So this would be a good opportunity to create a vision board. If you haven't made one at all or recently, this might be a good idea to update your vision board. But essentially, I want you guys to either just in your head right now, or you can pause the video to create your vision board. Define your max potential. Define the vision you have for your life, your max potential vision. Not just some half-ass vision that you might think your parents or partner or kids or friends would approve of. This is a conversation between you and you. What is your true max potential? When you're alone at night, or maybe when you have a couple drinks in your system and you start really kind of thinking freely. Or maybe this is just very clear to you already and you don't need to do any digging. But define this max potential. This is across finances, business, relationships, experiences, positive impact on the world, fulfillment. Like, what do you want your life to look like? So again, you can pause the video here, write some stuff down. You can create a rough draft of your vision board, but just get clear on what you want to create in your life. Next up, and so that's step 1 accomplished. Step 2, let's define our elite self. So I define our elite self as your perceived highest level version of yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally, behaviorally, and energetically. And specifically the version of yourself you must become in order to max out the true potential in life and business that you just defined. And so there's a certain version of yourself that exists within that reality that you just defined and thought about. And there's a version of yourself that you need to become in order to create it. And so the whole idea here with elite self and with self-development is taking strides towards that version of yourself and becoming that version of yourself, and simultaneously taking massive action in your vision in order to actually create it. And so how to actually define this, there's a series of questions you can ask yourself to start to make it clear. Number 1, how do you think, act, and feel? How do you respond to different situations. How do you respond to adversity? How do you respond to a setback? How do you respond to a tough conversation that you have to have? How do you respond to a argument with your spouse, with your partner, with your client? Right? So how do you respond? How do you think? How do you process as the highest level version of yourself, right? What are your habits, right? What is your morning routine? What is your evening routine? What do you focus on during the day? What bad habits do you not have, right? What addictions have you let go of? What do you no longer tolerate? How are you showing up? What type of body do you have? What do you look like? How do you feel? What type of energy levels do you have, right? How do you carry yourself? What type of action do you take? Define these things. Some of these are kind of more tangible or less tangible. Some of them are specific. Some of them are vague. But get a clear idea on who you want to become, right? Just like a GPS. If I put in my GPS California, it's going to take me somewhere in California. But if I put in my GPS like a specific address on Hollywood Boulevard, it's going to take me there. So let's get specific of where you want to go. And just like the vision board, you can accumulate images and make like I call it an elite self board or an elite self declaration of people who you look up to kind of like visualize the version of yourself you want to become as well. And so I have a few guys. I've had versions of this with like 50 guys. I've had versions of it with like 3 guys. So this is just a few of the guys that I look up to, and some of them aren't even guys I know, just images that inspire me. But it's Andy Frisella there, just his company and his whole philosophy is really inspiring. A couple other mentors, Alex Ramosi, a guy in a jet with his assistant, I assume, or something, and a guy practicing Muay Thai, just because I want to become a lethal, I just want to become a weapon. It represents discipline to me. And so you can grab images that represent certain things to you, or you can grab specific people that you want to become more like in maybe not every way, but some ways. And then you just have a board in front of you where it's like, okay, this is what I want to move towards. And this robot guy on the right here, I actually created this image with ChatGPT, and it's Elite Self colors, obviously, but that guy's on my vision board and my Elite Self board because it just reminds me of the version of myself I want to become. A man who has completely mastered his mind, his body, his emotions, and is just incredibly dialed in, laser focused, doesn't deviate from the blueprint, and is hell-bent on achieving his max potential. That's what that image kind of represents to me, and so I think it's pretty badass. But you can put whatever speaks to you on your board. And we've accomplished step 2. So number 1, define our max potential. Number 2, define our elite self, the version of ourselves we must become, right? If you're here, it probably means that version of yourself has a lot to do with becoming healthy and fit as one of the first level areas of development in the short term. And so make sure you define like what progress you want to see in that department in the first 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Okay. And now how to actually make progress. And so this is one key philosophy here. We must actively reprogram ourselves on a daily basis to think, feel, and behave as the version of ourselves that has created the desired result before there is any evidence of the desired result. The results we want are simply delayed external ripple effects of who you are showing up as on a daily basis. And honestly, fitness is one of the most obvious ways to describe it. You have to start behaving like a fit person before the result occurs. What does a fit person do? He eats healthy, he drinks water, he gets good sleep, he goes to the gym, he does it consistently, he doesn't binge eat, he doesn't fall off, he doesn't drink alcohol every day, right? So you have to behave as that version, and then your body, your health, your energy, it'll catch up. It's a delayed ripple effect. And this is true with anything, including business or any other area of self-development. And specifically, we must define the highest leverage, most urgent 80-20 of what you want to develop first, because there's 1,000 different things that you could develop about yourself. Your elite self will require 1,000 different areas of development, mentally, physically, emotionally, habitually, etc. And some of them you aren't even aware of yet because some areas of development, they're coming down later down the road. So what is most important to you right now? What would make the biggest impact on my life in business in the short term? Again, if you're watching this video, it's probably your health and fitness. You probably need to lose weight, get healthier, get more energized, become more confident, get consistent again, create that momentum for yourself. It's likely that would make the biggest impact for you. And so that's the strategy. Define the highest leverage area of development in the short term. And again, health and fitness, the reason why this is where we start with Elite Self is because it's truly the foundation of everything else. It's the foundation of creating your vision, It's the foundation of all other areas of self-development, and it's necessary in order to max out your true potential. You guys have all heard the quote, a person who is healthy has 1,000 wishes. A person who is sick only has one, which is to become healthy again. And so nothing else is possible if you're unhealthy, or if you're getting disease, or if you're just feeling lethargic all the time, if you're overweight, right? And so getting healthy and fit, it's going to make applying yourself to your vision a whole lot easier, right? Executing in your business and any other area of self-development, including mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, etc., right? You can't max out your potential if you die an early death. You can't max out your potential if you're spending time and energy trying to deal with health conditions because you didn't take care of yourself, right? So health and fitness truly is the foundation. And again, it affects your ability to execute, your cognitive function, mental clarity, energy, confidence, the partner you attract, the ability to raise and keep up with your kids, the example you set, how long you live, the quality of life you live. It determines how well you'll be able to keep up with the hobbies that you enjoy. It determines how long you'll be able to work, how many quality hours in a day you can work. Again, how long you live, right? So there's really not much that it doesn't affect. And so that's why it's incredibly important. And now I want to go through a quick crash course with you to educate you on the main things that matter with health and fitness. If, like most of the clients that come into our program, they are incredibly overwhelmed with the amount of information that is out there, and I don't blame them. There's just 1,000 different people telling them 1,000 different things. There's books you can read. There's like massive courses you can take. In this particular video, in this section of the video, my intention was to make a simple, nothing more, nothing less, actionable crash course that you can digest and then implement right away, just giving you clear, meaningful action steps in education, and that can actually make a difference for you in the short term. So you might want to grab a notebook. We're going to rip through these pretty quickly. So first and foremost, with weight loss, starting with the basics, in order to lose weight, you need to consume less calories than you burn. This is called a calorie deficit. 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories, which means that in order to lose 1 pound of fat per week, you will need to eat an average of 500 calories less than you burn each day. And so this is kind of like the benchmark, 1 pound a week. Some guys lose it faster or slower. The more excess weight you start with, the easier it is to lose weight faster. So a guy that's 300 pounds, he might have an easier time losing 2 to 3 pounds a week. Whereas a guy who is 20 pounds overweight, 1 pound per week might be more realistic in that regard. In order to determine how many calories you need to be consuming in order to lose weight, these are the steps that you can take. And you can't really boil them down much simpler than this. First off, if you don't already know, weigh yourself fasted immediately. Or not immediately, do it the next morning. Because what fasted means is pretty much nothing's in your body. And so when you wake up, after you use the washroom and before you eat or drink anything, weigh yourself. This is the most accurate way to weigh yourself because nothing's in your body and there's no crazy fluctuation. And then start tracking your nutrition. And so you can do this through an app like MyFitnessPal. In our program, we have an app that we use specifically for the clients, but the public one is MyFitnessPal that you can use. And start tracking your calories accurately, making sure that you gain an accurate idea of what you're consuming on a daily basis. And then weigh yourself in 7 days and then see what your weight did. See if it went up, stayed the same, or down. And then you say, okay, I appeared to eat an average of 2,000 calories per day. And my weight stayed the same. Therefore, if I want to enter into a calorie deficit and lose 1 pound a week, I might decrease my calories. You could decrease the full 500 to 1,500 calories, which is very low. And that would be for probably a very small person. Or you could just decrease it by 200 calories to get the ball rolling. But either way, you know what direction to move your calories in order to manipulate your weight and start your fat loss progress. So I have an example here. Let's say you determine your calorie target to be 2,300 calories in order to lose 1 pound a week. So for example, that first test you might have ran, you might have been eating 2,800 calories per day on average, and your weight stayed the same. Therefore, in this example, you determine, okay, 2,800 minus 500, that's 2,300. That's what I'll have to eat going forward in order to lose 1 pound a week. In regards of, so now your job is to eat 2,300 calories for the next 7 days, and then your weight should decrease, but just see what happens. You want to orient 90 to 95% of that calorie intake around your health and your energy. And so this means sticking to whole foods like lean meats, eggs, fruit, veggies, beans, rice, potatoes, like more complex carbs, and minimize like fast food, fast carbs, sugar, excess oils, high calorie drinks, right? So you know what's healthy and what's not. And so you want to orient the vast majority of your diet around health and energy. And you can eat for fuel and for taste. As far as building muscle goes, here are some keys. Number one, you want to make sure your protein levels are high. So out of that 2,300 calories, you're going to want to make sure you're eating a solid amount of protein. And we're going to go into how to calculate your protein target in a second. You're going to want to make sure that you're weight training consistently. So whether you're gaining or losing weight, bulking or cutting, you want to make sure that you're in the gym, because you don't just want to lose weight. You want to create a lean physique. At least that's what most of the guys that come to us want to achieve. They don't just want to end up looking skinny fat and super depleted and skinny. They want to lose the fat, but they also want to get toned. They want to build some muscle. And so in order to do that, you need to be in the gym, or you need to be doing resistance training of some kind as you're losing weight. And in regards of weight training and the workouts you need to do, you don't have to live in the gym, okay? Even 3 times a week, 20, 30 minutes is a great start. And you do not need to do hours of cardio, which is another myth. Cardio is not necessary for weight loss. It is important for cardiovascular health. And that's honestly the main reason we have our clients doing that, is not to necessarily burn more calories, although it does, and it does help with weight loss. It's just not necessary for weight loss. And the main thing we look for is just cardiovascular health and energy. As far as where you can work out, I mean, the gym is optimal just because it has the most amount of equipment and things you can do and ways that you can push yourself. But ultimately, if you're super, super strapped on time or something like this, and you want to do home workouts, or you have some equipment at home, or minimal equipment at a gym, like there's many different ways to do it. All of them are doable and workable, and you just got to work with what you got. As far as protein intake, so 0.7 grams of protein per 1 pound of body weight for goal body weight is the minimum. So let's say you're 200 pounds right now and your target weight is 170 pounds. You multiply 170 times 0.7, and that equals 119 grams of protein per day minimum. However, what is optimal is 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of goal body weight. So that'd be 170 in this example. And so 0.7 is kind of like the minimum. 1 gram per pound is the goal, is the ideal. As far as supplements go, if you struggle with hitting that 170 grams of protein with whole foods like eggs, meat, fish, etc., that's where supplements come in, and specifically protein powder, where you can take a scoop or 2 a day, which is usually like 27 to 30 grams per scoop these days. And you can also take protein bars, but protein powder is a bit more calorie efficient, meaning it's less calories per gram of protein. So getting some protein powder might be useful for you. I personally take 1 to 2 scoops a day. And other supplements, important to take. The basic ones I just listed here because, again, I want this to be extremely simple and actionable for you. I could give a whole presentation on micronutrients, but honestly, basics: multivitamin, vitamin D, omega-3 daily. If you're not taking those, buy them immediately. Start taking them. You'll feel better, and you'll be hitting your micronutrient targets. And, depending on who you are and the state of your body, how old you are, height, weight, your goals, depending on certain health conditions, everyone has a different lineup of micronutrients they need to take. But these 3 are pretty much bulletproof. Everyone should take them. And so I just wanted to mention them here. As far as water intake goes, again, depending on your height and weight and muscle mass, this will differ. But in general, 3 to 4 liters a day is great, which is, if you're in the States, 100 to 150 ounces. And so if you're kind of like a regular sized dude, 4 liters is great. If you're a bit smaller, 3 liters is great. So start drinking that immediately. And best practices for this are get a bigger bottle, even like a 1 liter bottle. That way you only have to drink 3 or 4 of them a day, and it's easy to keep track, as opposed to like a little cup or a bottle where you might have to drink like 8 of them, 10 of them in a day, and it's kind of tough to keep track of how many you've had. So I recommend getting a bigger bottle. You can even get a 4-liter bottle to make it super simple. Honestly, that makes it really simple. And I also recommend front loading your water intake early in the day. So like crush like a whole liter within the first half an hour of getting up. Make sure, try to like finish your hydration by like noon. Like that's like honestly the best way to do it. And that way you don't have to pee in the middle of the night by drinking it late at night either. So those are some tips there. As far as sleep goes, there isn't a single function in the human body that isn't improved with good sleep and inhibited by bad sleep. It's the single highest leverage point in everything in life, including fitness, self-development, vision development. Like I mentioned, fitness as the foundation for everything first. Sleep is arguably the foundation beneath that foundation, because you can't even get fit if you're not rested well. And so it's extremely important to prioritize. And here are some best practices for your sleep. Number 1, define the amount of sleep that you know you need. Define your ideal eyes closed wake up times. So it might be 8 hours, it might be 9 to 5, 10 to 6, whatever it may be. Put that in your calendar, and then have a 30-minute to an hour wind down routine before bed. And so the idea of that would be just to wind down, to relax your nervous system, and actually prepare your body for sleep. And have a cool, dark room. So that makes it much easier to sleep as well. Your body, I think, actually needs to drop a couple of degrees in order to get into REM sleep, and so it's optimal to have a cooler room. As far as the wind down routine goes, again, the objective there is to relax the nervous system, prime the body for sleep, and prepare for the next day. So you can fill this routine, that 30 to an hour slot, with many different things, including reflecting on the day and what you did well, what you can improve. Plan the next day in your calendar. You could clean or prep materials for the next day, prep your gym clothes for the next day. You could meditate, you could read, you could stretch, you could have lights dimmed or off during the routine, because you don't want bright lights right before bed, because it actually delays melatonin production. So you want to have lights off or just dimmed lights in order to, tell your body it's time to start winding down. And honestly, the hardest part is initiating that wind down sequence and having what I call bedtime discipline, which includes putting your phone away at the start of your evening routine, actually conducting your evening routine on time, and closing your eyes on time, not scrolling in bed or watching TV. Like actually executing the plan that you should. It's hard, but it's worth it, because again, sleep is the foundation of everything. In regards of time, it's super important to articulate to yourself that prioritizing your health and fitness, it's not really a matter of time, it's a matter of priority, right? And the reason why it's been on the back burner up until now is because it hasn't been prioritized. And so our calendar must now reflect the versions of ourselves we want to become. We must allocate the 168 hours in your week based off the version of yourself you want to become. And honestly, a lot of being healthy isn't necessarily adding more time to your schedule. It's just a matter of making different decisions that you're already making. For example, choosing different food doesn't necessarily take more time. It might take more time in the sense where you have to make the initial decisions on what to buy. You might have to learn the new places in the grocery store. But ultimately, in the long term, it doesn't take any more time. The main thing, it doesn't take really any extra time to drink more water. It takes extra time to go to the gym or work out, but that's time you have to allocate. It's time you have to find in your week and spend instead of something else that doesn't serve you at a high level. And a lot of times when you actually look at your week and you look at your calendar, you can find these extra pockets of time that you can allocate towards health and fitness. And these simple principles that I just mentioned regarding starting to change the amount of calories you're consuming, focusing on certain protein intake, water intake, sleep, starting to train consistently, even just 2-3 times a week. These are, again, I wanted these to be simple, actionable principles, and they work, okay? Like, they work. And another key philosophy here is it doesn't matter what you do 3% of the time, it matters what you do 97% of the time. So whatever you commit to, there's always going to be outliers, but what matters is you just recommit, make sure you're executing 97% of the time, because there'll always be, holidays or trips or, those days where you have a cheat meal or a drink or a few drinks, right? So it's okay. We're not trying to be like robots and, not have any fun or indulgement in life, but we do want to stay dialed in the vast majority of the time. And again, if you want to change something in your life, change something you do daily. So these aren't these are simple. These aren't insane commitments. And to show you that they work, I want to show you a few of the clients that we've implemented these with in our program that have seen awesome results by doing nothing different than pretty much what I just outlined to you. And if it can work for them, it can work for you too. And so these three guys, number one on the left here, Jonathan, he entered into our level 1 program, and he was following a super strict, I think it was Weight Watchers diet, and he was just getting super, it was Octavia. It was where they pretty much have them eating like all protein bars and stuff like that. And so he came in, we implemented a whole foods meal plan for him based on what he liked. We implemented a simple training plan based on what time he had available and the equipment that was in his gym. And now he's seeing abs for the first time. And he's absolutely crushing it, dialed in. He is a very busy entrepreneur. He pretty much started an extra business in the midst of the program as well. So he was very short on time, but still crushed it. Michael, guy in the middle, lost 50 pounds in his first 6 months. Again, these are just through very basic commitments that we implemented, and he's absolutely crushed it. And he's at his lowest weight to date. Nitin on the right, he is a physiotherapy business, and he's seeing abs for the first time, and he's absolutely crushing it. And this picture before and after was just taken, I think, like 2 months in. And so I think even has a better transformation at this point. But again, nothing crazy. We just implemented a whole foods plan that actually worked for him. It was feasible for him. A fitness plan that worked for him, that was feasible for him. And then boom, you get these results. Daniel on the left there, another guy in our level 1 program. He's extremely busy, works long hours, 5 days a week. And during those 5 days, hits the gym in the morning. And we've gone through several cut and bulk cycles with him so far, but he's absolutely crushed it. Lost fat, gained a lot of lean muscle, and he's feeling better than ever, looking better than ever, and he's crushing it. Trevor, business owner, he went through an awesome transformation. As you can see, the next two guys here are level 2 transformation. So these are guys that have been through our continuation program, which is 12 months long, and so they have a bit more substantial progress because they've been in the system longer. But they've both, and again, Prince on the right, Trevor in the middle, they've both shed pretty much all their extra fat and gained a lot of lean muscle, looking better than ever, in the most momentum that they've been in years, if not their whole life, and just absolutely dominating. So again, these guys just follow the process, and it worked for them. It can work for you as well. And so we just went over the basics of how to become your elite self, especially crushing your health and fitness as the foundational level of development with becoming your elite self. Because again, there's 1,000 different areas of development with becoming your elite self, but health and fitness is the foundation. And so last but not least here, let's create your game plan. Let's get you in momentum. Let's get you making progress, because there's no point in just watching a bunch of YouTube videos and just hoping you progress. Let's actually draw a line in the sand and say like, hey, look, let's make a change starting today. Let's actually make this happen. And so let's do that together right now. So I want to keep this very simple for you because that's the best way to start. So I want you to pick 3 simple initiatives that you know would be highest leverage for yourself. I can't suggest them for you because I don't know exactly where you're at with your fitness, with your nutrition, with your situation. But here's an example. 3 workouts a week of any kind. So this could be home workouts, it could be at the gym, of any kind. Just making sure you hit 3. 4 liters of water daily, non-negotiable. And then starting to track your nutrition daily so you can gain the awareness of how many calories you need to be eating in order to start shedding fat. So that's an example solution. And what you need right now is momentum. You need to spark the development. You don't need to have the perfect plan or to hit all the nails on the head and do 10 different things at once. You need movement forward. You need momentum. And so there's lots of time down the road to add more habits and to address more things. Like we talked about sleep, we talked about adding workouts, talk about maybe some evening routine, et cetera, et cetera. But for now, just pick 3 simple, actionable, commit to them, start executing today. Pull out your calendar, because if it's not planned, if you don't plan, we plan to fail. And I want you to plan your perfect week. And so whatever 3 standards you just picked, and if you haven't picked them yet, pause the video, pick them. I want you to put them in your calendar. So whether it's a daily thing or a 3 times a week thing or a weekly thing, whatever it may be, what would the calendar of your elite self look like? And I created an example of this in Google Calendar just to show you. So first and foremost, your sleep's in there, morning prep. But in the green there, I have workout and stretch. So maybe you toss in a workout and stretch in your calendar, whether it's 3 times a week or 5 times a week or whatever it is. Maybe it's half an hour, maybe it's an hour. Toss something in there, something that you can commit to. Include the time it takes to drive there and shower, eat, etc. Make sure it's all dialed in. And even, I assume you're working a lot. I put a lot of work in the calendar, like 8 to 5 p.m. every Monday through Saturday. Just to show you that this is something that's possible even with a crazy schedule. That's an example of how a morning could look and an evening. With the same calendar, maybe you have a meal prep slot in your Sundays now. Maybe you're prepping your gym clothes the night before, right? So whatever, 3 standards you committed to, make sure they're in the calendar, make sure they're accounted for. So we've pretty much gone through all of it now. You've defined what your max potential is in life. You've defined the version of yourself you need to become, and specifically the short-term area of development you want to embark on. I've kind of gone through the need to know on how to make progress with your health and fitness in the short term. And now you've picked standards, you've committed to standards, and they're in your calendar. And so now you're ready to rock and roll. The next 30, 60 days, you can make some solid progress. And what I want you to do now, before we head off, is just define what is your drive. So why is this important to you? Why not wait another day or another week or another month to make this happen? Like, why is now the time where you need to do this? Why not wait another year? I need you to answer this question. Like, how would this impact you? How would it improve your life? How would this improve the way you show up in business? Why is this a right now thing for you? Like, why is this important to you? I want you to answer these questions to yourself. Get deep, right? Don't just be like, it'd be nice to, look good. Why would it be nice to look good? What would that do for you? How would feeling better impact your life, right? What's your drive behind this? Because 3 weeks from now, when you have to wake up on time or you have to go to the gym, it's this driving force that gives you the fuel to keep going. You want to have a powerful why for yourself. So answer, why is this important to you? And on the other side of that coin, define what happens if you don't make a change now. Because as human beings, we're either moving towards pleasure or away from pain, or both with everything that we do. And so it's important to define what pain this is causing you. And so how has this been negatively impacting your life and business in one area or another? Maybe more life, maybe less business, maybe more business, less life, whatever it is. How has being out of shape negatively impacted your life? And what will this continue to cost you in the short and long term if you don't change? This is extremely important. And both change and not changing are hard. And so why are you ready to choose a different hard, right? Being out of shape is hard. You know that now. Getting in shape is also hard, right? You have to implement habits and deploy discipline. So why is that hard the hard you want to be choosing now? Answer this for yourself. Another important concept, recalibration. These new standards, this new lifestyle that you're committing to, it's hard. It's hard to stick to. And so many points along the way, you're going to have to recalibrate. Get back down, get knocked down, get back up. Get knocked down, get back up, right? Recalibration is one of the most important aspects of self-development because, again, identity expansion is hard. And so it's okay if you mess up. It's okay if you miss a day of nutrition tracking. It's okay if you miss a workout. But don't let one bad day turn into 2. Don't let one bad week turn into 2. Just keep getting back up. Keep getting back up. It'll become easier. It'll become more natural. You just have to stay in the game. And that's how long-term progress is made. Another thing here is that I wanted to include. It doesn't really have too much to do with what we've talked about today, but this is just one of the most important concepts I've come across in the journey and have learned the hard way and the painful way. And I've learned it through pain and through hardship, which is that life happens for you. And I just want to remind you of this. You might already believe this or practice this belief, or this might be new to you, but this belief is worth practicing and it's worth holding close to your heart. Your challenges, adversity, hardship, and heartache are all showing you what you need to develop into, the version of yourself you need to develop into. Okay? Your pain isn't there or hasn't been there in the past for no reason. There's always a lesson you can learn. There's always a message you can receive. There is always a way that you're being called to grow, to overcome the challenge, to overcome the adversity. And it believes us to serve that because the alternative to that belief is saying, I'm a victim. This sucks. This pain sucks. Why me? Why is this taking so long? Etc. Etc. It doesn't believe you to it doesn't serve you to believe those things. And so what serves you at a much higher level is saying like, wow, this situation is very difficult. What am I being called to learn here or grow? How am I meant to move forward here? What am I supposed to do? What action am I being called to take here? Let the trenches forge you instead of break you. So whatever hard process you're going through right now, you've probably been through a lot of hard processes with business. Fitness is going to be a hard one for you. Maybe being overweight and unhealthy is the hard thing, and the message from that is like you need to change. Like that's one example. It could be many examples, many hard things in life. But I just wanted to keep this belief front of mind for myself and also present it to you because a person who believes that life happens for them in some way and believes that the hard stuff is there to help them in some way or help them develop in some way, that's a much different life at the end of the line than a person who believes that they're a victim. So I just wanted to include that in this video. Last call for you guys here is to get in action one way or another. Again, whether it's just taking action on your own or clicking the button down below and hopping on a call with me to see if you're a good fit for the program, get in action. Your max potential depends on it. The vision you defined for yourself earlier depends on it. Your family depends on it. Your kids depend on it. The people that you're going to impact in your life or not depend on it. That positive impact you're truly called to create in the world, that depends on it. And so there's so much hinging on this, on the version of yourself that you become. And so I encourage you to take action, to not tolerate another day of living as an average version of yourself. Become elite. Develop into the version of yourself you know you're truly capable of. Everything else in life gets better on the other side of that, and that's how you actually give yourself a shot of achieving your max potential. And so that's it for this video, guys. I hope it was useful for you. I hope it was educational. I hope I inspired you to take action, again, in one way or another. I'm here to support you in any way I can. Feel free to hit me up on Instagram as well if you want to ask me any direct questions or want to get in touch. Again, the link is there below for the entrepreneurs that are ready for a higher level of guidance to make this year the year that they get in the best shape of their lives and start to really develop. But if you're kind of just here for information, my other YouTube videos will probably be of value for you as well as my Instagram. And so, again, one quote I've heard that kind of stuck with me is, your marketing should impact way more people than your product ever does. And so my goal through my videos and my marketing, my social media, is to help as many people as possible, give this stuff away for free. And if even one of you implement stuff from this video and change your life, that will be well worth it for me. So I hope that's the case. But without further ado, thank you for your time. I hope it was worth it for you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.